Merry Christmas, everybody. I want to share with you today a famous peanut brittle recipe that my mom and dad made when I was young. My dad would pull out the peanut brittle pan about once a year, and we would, as a family, make our one pan of peanut brittle and enjoy it. But I've started to make probably 25 to 30 pans of peanut brittle a year, and many people ask me what my secret is. Well, the first secret is my mother's handwritten recipe, which I always take out every year, although I know the ingredients and make it with her in mind. I'm going to show you the ingredients and the way that I pull the peanut brittle, which is kind of the secret of my recipe. So I'm going to get started with my famous peanut brittle. Hi Jade, you're my helper, aren't you? This is the pan that I use. It is not a special pan, but it is a pan that only peanut brittle is made in. So when Christmas is over, I put it in a safe, dark place and only use it for peanut brittle. Teflon, nothing fancy. So the ingredients on the first part of the recipe is 2 cups sugar, half a cup of water, and 1 cup, as my mother would say, Cairo syrup. She was from Alabama, so we said Cairo. I'm going to turn the heat on to a medium heat, which on all different stoves it's different, but anywhere between 6 and 7 on this stove. I'm going to stir this in, and then I'm going to boil off the water. And I have timed this in the past, and depending on the temperature of the room and the temperature of the pan, to get to what they consider a hard brittle is anywhere between 16 minutes. So people that make candy would know what that means. I usually boil it off, kind of look at it, and then I pour some of the candy into a cold glass of water, and then if it's at brittle, that's when I add the raw Spanish peanuts. Okay, while the ingredients are boiling off, the first part of the peanut brittle is I prep my area to pour my peanut brittle or candy on. I have a wood board that was given to me. It is a Lazy Susan with wood on top. Any wood board would do, or a countertop that's made of wood. You just can't put it on a stone surface. That was a lesson that I learned when I moved into a new house. So I take tin foil and I do sunny side up, and I just put a little melted butter on the tin foil and kind of just rub it in just to spread it out. This helps the peanut brittle not stick to the surface while I am pulling it. And then I take some salt and I salt the surface also. So when the peanut brittle and the candy is all ready to be poured on here, this is all ready to go. The sugar, Cairo syrup, and water have been cooking for, about 13, 14 minutes. It starts to kind of take on a little bit of like, I don't know, I call it like a gelatin look, but I'm not a candy maker, so I'm not sure. So after a little bit, I take a little bit of the candy and I put it into a cold bowl of water, and immediately it turns hard. It's called the brittle stage. When the candy is that stage, I pour in 2 cups of raw Spanish peanuts, and I'm going to cook these at the same temperature on the stove as I did the candy. But the most important part about this process is you have to stir the peanuts the entire time, otherwise they'll burn. This process of cooking the peanuts is anywhere between 5, 6, 7 minutes. So I'm gonna get back to you once the peanuts are done. They're a couple minutes away from being done. My mother always said that she always knew when her peanuts were done is when she could smell them. We could start to smell them a little bit, but I do like to get mine just a little more brown. And then they start to split a little bit too. It's getting to the end of the cooking time for the peanut brittle. So as you can see, peanuts are getting nice and brown. The candy's nice and brown. So the next step is to take this off of the burner. And you're going to add 1 tablespoon baking soda into the candy. And you're going to stir this in very good. And it's going to look just kind of like a creamy, marshmallowy mixture. And then you're going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And you're going to stir this. You have to do into the candy. You have to do this in a little bit of a kind of a hurry, because you want the candy to stay hot, obviously, so when you pour it onto your surface, it's still hot enough to pull, but trust me, it's plenty hot. And then you're going to add 2 tablespoons of butter and stir that in. Okay, follow me, Koi. You're going to take your pan and you're going to pour it onto the tin foil. Kind of spread it out a little bit. And then you're going to salt the top. Of course, you can never have enough butter or salt in your recipes. And then if you have family that loves peanut brittle, they usually help you with this part. So oftentimes it's just me. My kids are busy. So I'm going to let this just set for a minute, and then I'm going to start pulling it from the outside. And you just kind of work around the candy. I'm lucky enough to have this wheel, so I don't have to move, depending on what your setup is. This is still really hot, so we're going to wait a little bit. I've burned many fingers doing this, so there is a trick. A lot of times you just want to lift the candy off the tin foil with your spatula, and then just kind of pull with the tip of your finger. Sometimes I'll separate a little bit of the piece from the big pile because it's so hot right now that you can stretch it too thin, which is really fun a lot of times if you're not packing it or taking it to a friend's house. But when it gets really, really thin, it doesn't travel very well because it breaks up. It takes about 4 or 5 minutes to do. I mean, eventually your candy is going to get too cool to pull. So there is a little bit of a urgency, if you will, and a rhythm. What I love about granite countertops or stone countertops is the minute I put that candy on the counter like I just did, it's hard. It takes about 10 seconds to cool, and then you could actually package it shortly after that. So you're going to work your way around the candy and so once you have the candy out on the granite, it's nice and cool already because it doesn't take very long once it's on stone, and then you can break it in half, take a bite. So awesome. Thanks, Ottawan Ginny Gel. This is your tradition. We're going to pass it on for generations to come. Love you.